On this week's GTA 5 o'clock, could GTA 5 have a prologue set in Liberty City? We finalise our version of the in-game map, and we talk more about GTA Online. It's the only GTA 5 show that matters. It's this week's GTA 5 o'clock. Hi, welcome to this week's GTA 5 o'clock. Hope you're well out there. I'm Tim Weaver. I'm here with Dan Dawkins. Hello, Dan.
Hello there.
This week we're going to be taking in a few different things. We've got some fresh news that's appeared this week that Dan's going to talk about in a second. We've updated our map and we think it's pretty close now to what the final map will be. We'll be showing you that later in the show. And of course we've got some questions from you guys off the back of the interview we did with Rockstar last week and the gameplay trailer analysis we did as well. Dan, anything to add?
I only want to say thank you very much for last week. Amazing response to our two shows, the exclusive interview with Rockstar North and our gameplay analysis. Over 350,000 views for both, so wow, that's a lot of people. So thanks very much, and thank you to everyone who's joined our Twitter community at GTA V O'Clock. If you're listening for the first time and you haven't subscribed yet, please press the subscribe button. Sorry to be pleady, but it makes a difference. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. So Dan, fresh news off the press this week to do with animals and to do with the characters.
First up, Rockstar North president Leslie Benzies, who's sort of as famous as people get from Rockstar North, has been talking about how the game's going to be much faster than its predecessors, and I think what he means is much faster for the game to get going. I think notoriously GTA games are quite slow burn.
Yeah.
I think certainly with GTA 4, I mean, I actually quite like that. You know, you arrive on the boat with Nico Bellic, you drive around, and the first couple of missions are usually, you know, meet some guy, drive a package somewhere. You don't really get a gun for a couple of missions. It's really slow going, and I think maybe it makes a lot of assumptions of the gamer that they want to continue and play that way, where increasingly, you know, in an impatient world, people want to just basically get in and start shooting straight away, and you want like a first level or an intro akin to maybe an Uncharted game, which throws you right into the action, or even like, you know, good movies do this. Star Trek with J.J. Abrams does this, throws you straight into the danger. So it seems that GTA has learnt from this and are listening. Now, Leslie Benzies said, "We want to surprise people with very intense missions from the start. The pace of the game is much faster than any of its predecessors. From the beginning, we want to show off the new game mechanics while creating intense, action-packed gameplay to capture the player's attention immediately." Now, what does that say to you, do you think?
Well, I mean, in previous games, we know that they like locked bridges so that you couldn't cross bridges into certain parts of town. And we know that they very definitely come out straight out of the blocks this time and said that's not going to be the case. The whole map's going to be open from the start. So I think this is a very natural kind of step for them to make, you know, that they're going to get you into the action quicker because they're opening up the whole map, you know, much quicker. But I wonder whether it's a sort of way for them to funnel you slightly into the direction they want you to go. And what I mean by that is if the whole map's open to you from the start, there is the danger, of course, that you get straight into that world and you just disappear out to the north of the island and fanning around in the mountains for a while instead of kind of playing these missions and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, the second part of what he said is that you won't initially have all three key characters available at the start.
That's interesting. I thought that was the second. That was the. I was going to, when you talked about that, I was going to sort of bring that up because that's almost a little bit of an equivalent of locking off bridges, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it stops you geographically shortcutting to the mountains by switching to, say, Trevor.
Yeah.
What I think is really interesting in what he said is, he says, from the beginning, we want to show off the new game mechanics while creating intense action-packed gameplay. Now, he's talking about doing that from the off. Now, the new mechanics, as we talked about in our exclusive interview last week, are essentially to do with shooting, to do with cover, they're to do with driving, they're to do with customization. So, you know, I think they will want to throw you in almost immediately, probably, into an action or firefight-based scenario. Now, I wonder if chronologically that might mean throwing you in at a later point in the game, or even, you know, some abstract point in the game, and so you'll be like, wow, I'm straight into the middle of a firefight. I'm playing as, let's say, probably Michael would be my guess. And then it will almost like flash back, and he might go, and this is how we got here, this was the story, you know, after you complete the first 10-15 minute wham bam shooty start.
The alternative, I guess, Dan, is that they might, as a prologue, show you how Michael got to this point.
Oh, I love that, Tim.
So they might actually have a mission at the start where Michael's doing his last ever bank job or something like that, and the FIB finally catch up with him, and then you have the credits or whatever, and then afterwards he's in his new life in Los Santos under witness protection.
Well, do you know what? You saying that makes me sad because I feel like I've already created a terrible spoiler in my brain.
Right.
Because if you think where Michael's come from before he came out west, essentially, you know, the implication is what, he was a Liberty City criminal?
I don't know whether has that been implied. I haven't.
Maybe implied that. I don't want to speak out of turn, but what I would say is he's definitely been relocated by the FIB.
That's for certain.
Certainly, for me, it opens the possibility that the game will start, let's say, in Liberty City or Vice City, and then you might be playing out the last mission that gets him incarcerated, leading to the pleading of his sweetheart deal. And you might get, and it would be what a start that would be if you start all action, all guns blazing, and your first view of Los Santos is in fact Liberty City. That would be mind blowing. I think people would, and they've done this sort of thing before. There is a precedent because there's a mission that throws you out to Liberty City in a previous GTA. Completely, I think it's in San Andreas. They just throw you out there, and you're like, what? And again, it's a very controlled slice of Liberty City, but they do throw you out there. And it's something that, again, I think they could do again. And like, what a start. You'd be wham-bamming from the beginning, give you a real sense of Michael's backdrop. And they could do, ditto for Trevor, showing how he gets there, what his background is. And again, Franklin, and we've speculated about, Franklin working both sides of the law. Could it be that we actually see Franklin working the other side of the law and he is in fact undercover, and that's where we first get to see him? That is speculation on my part, but I think Rockstar, what they've listened to is they listen to user feedback. They sell a lot of games, but what they're aware of is that not everyone completes their games, and in fact a huge number of people barely attempt any missions. So I think they're probably trying to work around that by making the game absolutely scintillating from square one. And I think that's a great way. And also what it does is, I mean, apart from the fact that possibly we've spoilt it, is surprise you from the off. And they're always saying that. They want to hold those back because they want to surprise people. I think that would be fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, we should underline that that's, again, pure speculation on our part. That is not confirmed from Rockstar that is the case.
Of course not.
But that would certainly make sense. It would get you into the characters quickly. I wonder whether they might just go with... The reason I sort of said Michael is because I wonder whether they might just go with one character to kind of make it a simple yet a simple introduction to the combat mechanics and the how things work and that sort of stuff, rather than having him in pre the witness protection thing certainly makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any clues in what Leslie Benzies went on to say, but he said, remember that the three characters in the game are already living in the city of Los Santos and surrounding areas. They're not newcomers like Nico and Tommy Vercetti, or people returning after a long absence like CJ. He says they already have contacts, they're integrated with the world and lead a busy life, and these characteristics give the players a sense of immediate and total immersion. He says we want to give the players an opportunity to get to know the three characters individually and explore the world as each of them. And it wouldn't have been possible if all three had been available from the start.
Well, it's interesting. Anyway, Dan, we'll put it out there with our Trevor / Michael brothers. What would you call it? Punt, I guess. Yeah,
like again a conspiracy theory with some basis in fact, like all good conspiracy theories. Other news this week. Famitsu magazine, which is the big Japanese games bible as it used to be described, has got some information on animals in GTA 5.
Yeah, what did they say? 15 species of wild animal, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, 15 species of wild animal, all of which can be hunted. Now, we know dog and... Can't hunt dog, surely.
No.
Dog and deer.
Mountain lion we saw in our demo as well, didn't we?
Mountain lion.
Yeah.
And it says it doesn't make clear why you'd hunt them. Now, we've speculated previously that in a similar way to perhaps the FIB-style... side missions that we think could be involved with Trevor, where he hunts men down, like Mad the dog, or lives on Dog Madman.
Dog the bounty hunter.
Dog the bounty hunter. That's it, yeah. Tim. That's correcting me. And it could be that there's kind of a side element to the hunting and a compelling reason to do it, probably to earn money again to feed back into the main economy. But that would make perfect sense. But yeah, we don't know why yet. 15 different animals. Can you speculate any more?
I don't know. I mean, it could be another mini game. Maybe, you know, a hunting sort of Cabela's Dangerous Hunt style mini game. You know, or it could be that, you know, in a Red Dead style, you can hunt these animals, you skin them and sell their pelts for extra cash. You know, we saw that in that Lacey Jonas mission we saw in our demo. The amount of money you make from that is actually not that huge. It's only about $150. You know, so there is, as well as being a big scale economy in that you can get these massive jewelry heists and bag like 100 grand in about 2 seconds, like we saw in the gameplay trailer last week. We know that from that Lacey Jonas mission there are a really small scale earning potential as well. You know, and who knows, maybe you can earn money from pelts for sets, you know, for selling them on. We know that the game is all about economy and money and making money. So, well,
let's say, for example, you know, there's 15 different types of things. There's probably going to be bigger animals like grizzly bears.
Yeah,
they might be, and
wolves, maybe.
It's quite possible, given the Bigfoot rumours from the original San Andreas, there could be like a mythical beast who, if you were to land him, might be worth an incredible amount to some of the conspiracy nuts out there, and there could be a market for that. So it could be you land Sasquatch and get $500,000 or something crazy, you know.
I reckon that I got a sneaker that they might include Sasquatch somewhere, just as you know, because there was such a massive thing about it in San Andreas that I think they might include. I know they included him in Red Dead, but I think they'll do it this time in GTA 5. I think he'll be hidden somewhere in the game.
I think you're totally right, and I think it's possible even that there's like, because we're kind of expecting that as a secret, there might be a level above again. Yeah. But, you know, hey, we don't know. What we also do know, though, is from Famitsu, is that your dog, Chop, is customizable. And you can get him different collars and accessories.
Yeah, I mean, that explains why he turns up in Grove Street colours in some of the trailers and screenshots, I guess. I don't know whether... Do you call that customization? I don't know, just changing his colour?
I don't know.
Changing his legs and his face. Now, that's customization, but...
I mean, I know this is like Los Santos or LA. I mean, are they going to go the full hog and give him, like, pamper kits and spectacles?
Right, like poodle washing.
Like super camp gear, you know? Would that be... I mean, that would be funny.
Yeah.
Like... And again, I don't quite know what his role is. Like, will you be able to send him in to gnaw at people or act as a patrol or whatever it is?
Well, James, who does the production on the show, obviously, and who people will be familiar with from previous episodes, says that spotted something good in the I think it was in the gameplay trailer, or it might have been one of the other trailers, that Chop is actually a little icon on the map.
Ah, yes.
So presumably, so you can, you know, keep an eye on him and know where he is. If you set him on someone and they run off and he chases them, you can sort of find him on the map. So he's definitely taken on a life of his own, and by customising his collar and all sorts of other stuff, maybe more of a life than we anticipated.
Watch out, Turner and Hooch. Well, and apparently it's possible to lose Chop if you're negligent, which sounds, again, a bit like hard work if you turn around and he's run away. But
yeah, I mean, there were a couple of people in our comments thread last week off the back of the interview, I think, who speculated that in the same way Imran, who we interviewed last week, suggested that when you correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, I think it was when you lose a car or your car gets taken back by police, you have to go to the impound rather to get it out, to buy it out. Some people in our comments have speculated that the same would happen with Chop, in that if he wanders off and you can't find him, you have to go to like the American equivalent of the RSPCA and find, you know, and buy him, I guess, buy him back.
That makes sense. Otherwise, you'd have a string of dogs throughout the game. Like, it'd be really sad, like Chop number 13 or whatever it is. I mean, that would be weird and sad.
The game does seem more focused this time on keeping, you know, getting stuff and keeping stuff. You know, Imran talked last week about how you have weapons and keep them for the duration of the game, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we do reader questions in a bit. But it would make sense, you know, if Chop wanders off once, that you don't just like, I'm just going to go and get another Chop. You know, you actually keep him. Yeah. So Dan, we've gone to our map again that we started about a month ago, and given what we've seen in the gameplay trailer, we've been able to piece together a more coherent layout. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll take us through the map a little bit. I will first of all doff my cap to the incredible folk at GTA Forums who have done a lot of the legwork on this. I can't name everyone individually, but if you feel like there's a particular finding you think you deserve credit for, please let us know.
Yeah, we will definitely give you a shout out if you get in touch and feel that we've done that. We're not stealing your ideas at all. We're just trying to present a map.
And the truth is that, you know, certain things, the truths are the same whichever way you look at them, as in we'd only be coming to the same conclusions. So even if it looks like we've had the same idea as you, it's because that's the correct answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've updated our map. Now I wouldn't say it's like 100% correct, but I feel increasingly confident we've got pretty much the right shape and dimensions now for Los Santos. And you may have seen this in our previous episode where we did it. Now a couple of areas we can refine now based on new evidence from the gameplay trailer. Perhaps the first, and like a really clear piece of evidence now, is the shape of the Alamo Sea, which is the sort of huge, like river area,
body of water,
north of Los Santos. And this is, on the side of this is Sandy Shores, where Trevor lives, which is the kind of down and out deserty style area. Now the Alamo Sea shape is known. Why, you ask? Well, two reasons. One is that in the background of one of the scenes in the gameplay trailer where Trevor is either talking to someone or torturing someone, you can see the corner of one of the heist maps. And on that, it gives away the corner edging of the Alamo Sea, which is utterly incredible. Now, also, there was another official screenshot released by Rockstar of a plane in the air that gives away like the right-hand side of the sea. Now, again, the eagle-eyed have joined those two pictures to create a definitive Alamo Sea shape. So it's not entirely different to what we'd expected. I guess it's kind of like what rectangular with a droopy bit or whatever you describe it as. It's better just to look at the screen and see what I mean. But we're pretty confident now that the Alamo Sea is as it's going to look. Also, we previously and ahed about whether there were two sort of tributaries or rivers going off from the left of the Alamo Sea as you see it on the map. I think now that's almost absolutely certain. There's an area to the south which is like the Zancudo River.
That's confirmed. Well, the name's confirmed, and we've seen it in a screenshot.
Yeah, which is confirmed, and that's kind of in the shots where maybe the river breaks up and it's a bit flatter and there's more like sandy bumps in it. And then on the north side of that, there's another river which is more where we've seen the bridges crossing the sort of forestry style regions. So again, that's confirmed. So there's definitely a split in the two. The big finding from the map, and a previously completely unknown location, as we revealed on last week's analysis show, it's clear that there's a heist set in a sort of possibly an industrial town and or complex, and you see Franklin perhaps jumping off a mountain and descending to this area. We know it's from one of the heists. Now it looks increasingly like this is a coastal town or industrial town set off the north of the map. We can't place it precisely in terms of the geography in the north because we probably haven't got enough information. The thinking seems to be split between it being sort of like direct northeast or slightly direct northwest. I couldn't definitively call it either way, but it does seem pretty likely that it is off to the north, a previously unseen area, which would then imply that the mountain range behind it we see him jumping off is again a new mountain range we've not seen. We've speculated, could it be Mount Chiliad, because it is incredibly big.
Yeah, well, in the gameplay trailer last week, that shot where it kind of zooms up into the sky above that massive mountain, and we see that kind of what could possibly be a rail station on top. We'll talk about that in a second. On the right hand side of that is what appears to be this town.
Yeah.
And that is a huge mountain, and we know that Chiliad will be the biggest mountain in the game. There are other mountains in the game. We've had Josiah confirmed to us, and we see that there are a series of ridges from lots of different screenshots we've seen. There are a series of ridges, so we know there are lots of different peaks in the game. But that mountain looks so huge that we're going to speculate that it is Chiliad, and on the north side of that is this town. Is it confirmed that it's called Palito?
Yeah, well, that's the name they use on their whiteboard when they're doing the heist. So it must be Palito. Is certainly what they've put on their screenshots. What's also interesting is it does explain away. There was one mysterious screenshot doing the rounds from Rockstar of like a biplane flying over a piece of coastline that up to that point we'd never seen or couldn't place. It's the same on previous shows. What you can do is almost cast iron tie it to the edge of Polito.
Yeah.
So again, that is a further hint at this piece of geography. So yeah, we know that. The more stuff we found out about is if you head into actual Los Santos.
Yeah.
We've got a pretty good handle now on where all the freeways are. Now this should make more sense as you look at this on screen, but we can put the placement of the West Eclipse Boulevard, which sort of runs down the west coast of Los Santos, down the coast, down towards like Vespucci Beach and Del Perro Pier. You've also got the Del Perro Freeway, which runs sort of centrally through downtown Los Santos. Yeah, loops around. You've also got the La Puerta Freeway, which goes from the south in the harbour up to the north, heading towards Hollywood, but not quite into Hollywood. Now, there's a big road breaking out from centre of downtown all the way out into the country, bound the back of the Land Ac Dam and the Tataviam Mountains, and that's the Los Santos Freeway.
Yeah.
Now, the Los Santos Freeway works up to the wind farms and past what we speculated is the prison. That's where you see the satellite dishes, and that is fringed by a road called Route 68. Again, based on radar images, if what we believe is correct. Then you've got an airstrip, and up north from there, you've got sandy shores as established. Something worth noting is that the Tataviam Mountains, the word Tataviam means people facing the sun and relates to an Indian tribe. Now, I don't know if that's just a casual reference or will have some bigger significance for the game.
Okay, so that's the map. We're going to do some questions now. Okay, Dan, so I'm going to split this into two sections. The first is a couple of ideas that readers sent in to add to stuff that we talked about last week. And then there's some more traditional questions after that. So, Legend of Lal Elite says, could it be that the marijuana in the game is used to refill Franklin's special meter, maybe like chewing tobacco is used to refill Deadeye in Red Dead Redemption? It's a good idea, Dan, I think. That possibly might explain why he was in that marijuana shop. Yeah,
it's a cool idea. I can't prove or disprove it, but given there's a degree of precedent with Deadeye and Red Dead Redemption, it's entirely possible.
Okay, Stephen McCullough, I'm going to use him as a sort of stepping off point for a number of questions we've had about this. He got in touch via Twitter and said, could the object on top of Mount Chiliad, which we talked about earlier, be some type of mooring station for the blimp? But apart from that, Dan, even if it's not for the blimp, could it be some sort of cable car? Or there was a big discussion about this online this week.
Yeah, the GTA 5 shed almost became like the meme coming out of the gameplay trailer. It was our equivalent of the COD dog.
Yeah.
And truth told, I don't think anyone knows what the shed is, like the infamous, mysterious mountain shed. Like Tim said, could it be like a mooring point for the blimp? I don't know. It seems quite high up and weird, but you never know. Could it be like for a cable car? That sort of makes sense. That would be quite interesting and fun. Is it just some secret hidden base where some crackpot lives? Is it the secret hiding location of Sasquatch? I doubt it, because it wouldn't be a very clever place to live if you were looking to hide living in your own house.
Yeah.
I don't know, I really don't know. And there's probably loads of great meme images and materials, maybe some of which will be on your screen right now, which have better theories and speculations.
I reckon it might be a cable car. I reckon that makes most sense. Because why would you have a big boxy house thing like that on top of a mountain otherwise? I don't... I went through the trailer actually before we recorded this to see whether I could see any kind of cable car cables coming down into the town of Polito or anywhere else for that matter, and I couldn't see any. So maybe it's not, but that would make a certain kind of sense, I think.
And without a cable car to get up there, who would even contemplate living in a shed on top of a mountain where you could never leave to get food, water, or visit anyone? Yeah. Without taking a 3-day trek down the mountain. No thanks.
Okay, so moving on to some questions. We got this from Joe Pantioni, who got in touch via YouTube, I think, and said, just wanted some clarification on something we talked to Imran about last week. Joe says, Imran said, this time you will always keep your gun, so you'll never lose a gun. So your guns are going to be with you throughout the whole game. To which I asked, so once you've picked up a gun, that stays with you throughout, so you never lose that? And Imran said, no. So it will stay with you throughout the whole game. Joe asks, I can't tell if that means both A, you keep your gun and it stays in your inventory at all times, or B, even if you're caught by the police, you still keep your guns. Dan, do you have a attempt at answering this?
Well, I can attempt to, but the truth is I don't work for Rockstar. I can't definitively answer the sort of micro points within this. The implication I thought from what Imran had said was that if you spend ages pimping up a gun and making it specialist and offering certain things, if, like where traditionally you might have lost a weapon in GTA, it won't be lost forever.
Yeah.
So I think that essentially, like, your gun will feel unique to you and customized throughout the game. I don't know how they're going to like pull that off or make that work, but I just think they don't want to get to the stage where you create like a sort of $30,000 mega sniper rifle, get killed, wake up in hospital, and you've lost it.
Yeah, I that's what I took from that, was that once you got weapons, you keep it, but you wouldn't necessarily keep it on you at all times. It would probably be at some safe house somewhere, or maybe you've got like a weapons shed or something, where you kind of keep these things, and you crack out individual weapons for different types of heists and different types of missions.
Yeah.
Okay, J Kennedy 2234 said, asked on YouTube, will each character have separate individual missions?
Yeah, Rockstar have already said this, haven't they? They
Yeah.
said some characters have got character-specific missions, and there's certain activities they'll perform that are more unique to them. Like we touched upon, Trevor might be performing FIB sort of takedowns, working, almost like Black Ops. Franklin will be involved in street races and that kind of thing. What would they say Michael might be doing apart from playing tennis and golf?
Watching Vinewood movies.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's a mini game.
No, I mean, we saw him in the gameplay trailer going down the game's equivalent of Rodeo Drive, looking for clothes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who lives a very not expensive existence, but he's certainly got plenty of money to burn. So you can imagine that Michael will be frequenting places like the Von Krastenberg Hotel, for example, which we saw in the demo.
Short answer, yes.
Lampard 8X says, will it be possible to buy digital content from the special edition collector's edition, even if you get the standard edition? I think he means, will you be able to, access the blimp even if you don't get the special edition? The honest answer, Dan, is I guess we don't really know, but do we suspect that Rockstar will make that available?
I'd have thought at some stage. They obviously need to incentivise you to purchase the collector's edition with content perhaps you couldn't get elsewhere, but whether they just offer it to you for a financial transaction fee or they make it available to everyone further down the line, possibly with a fee, I don't know. But I'd have thought Rockstar would certainly be looking to, certainly through DLC of some kind, maybe whether it's like Ballad of Gay Tony or something not quite as ambitious. They'll be looking to add more later on.
Okay, Chase Haddon asks, do you think you'll be able to add your own music to the game like you can in Vice City?
We don't know for a fact. I think this let's be honest now, like the phone, you've got a smartphone, this is the real world, the modern world. Services like Spotify exist. I think Rockstar have still got a trump card to play in terms of what the soundtrack is, which is the obvious old trump card of effectively releasing a CD box out of 70 songs. But I wonder if they're going to add some sort of modern day streaming playlist or customization option that's completely different and new, and again a really cool new feature we just hadn't expected. And to me, I think that's possible, and I think your smartphone in game will be your access to music on the move.
Okay, Joao Ferreira asks, do you think the stock market could be a sort of online multiplayer mode where other players can buy stock and influence the stock price?
I think like we mentioned last week in the analysis show, what would be an interesting thing is if in single player you were asked to blow up a certain truck factory and you had shares in that truck factory, you're almost working against yourself. And it could be that you've blown up something that's actually of value to you, which creates a fun moral contradiction. But I wonder if this is a more interesting point, is if GTA Online exists within the same universe as the GTA single player. So it could be that there's a persistent global marketplace affected by the events of GTA. It's just similar to something that's happened in EVE Online on PC, for example, where the economy's interrelated, where it could be that, let's say, during GTA Online, lots of people are buying certain types of guns or certain types of stock belonging to certain companies, it might raise the level of that stock in the single-player world. Well, I don't know if they do that, but for me that would be an interesting way to look at it.
Okay, and Phil Shifley finally says, when will Rockstar announce more about GTA Online? I guess we don't really know at this point, Dan, but given that we're fairly close to release now, you'd anticipate it being pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, we're down to almost like less than 2 months, weeks to launch. So, what's the date today? In fact, it might almost be exactly 2 months today.
Yeah, 17th of July, I think, today.
Yeah.
So yes.
Literally 2 months today.
Literally
so
2 months,
you're looking at 8 to 9 weeks at max. It's going to be incredibly soon. Let's put it another way. We don't know, and even if we did, we wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay, and on that cryptic note, we're going to put a stop to this week's show. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you've enjoyed what we've been able to tell you about the map and some other bits and bobs. Possibly we've unveiled the prologue to GTA 5 this week. I don't know. But please do subscribe. Please keep in touch with us via Twitter. Thank you again to everyone who's listened and commented and got in touch. Dan, you wanted to add something?
One last thing. I thought this was absolutely delicious and I loved it. Last week, a number of people speculated in the mother of all conspiracy theories, and I love a conspiracy theory, that we invented Imran from Rockstar. And some guy said, I think you faked him, done these pretend accents, and you're doing it to keep the show popular. Now, I mean, I honestly didn't know what to say. Like, no. I mean, hypothetically, that's a fun thing to do, but I can state categorically he is a real man who works with Rockstar North, and it was all arranged legitimately through Rockstar. I cannot be unequivocal enough about that. It's just the internet's got to a stage where everything is a loose change style conspiracy. We
enjoyed it though.
Yeah, it was good fun. But we do a lot of speculation on this show, but there has to come a time where there needs to be proper evidence to back this stuff up. He's a real man, and thank you for coming on last week.
Yeah, thank you to Imran. Thank you to you for listening, and we'll see you next week.